Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Zero Excuses podcast. My name is Kenyon Ziska. Thanks for tuning in. This is the Wheelbook Wednesday edition of the show. If this is your first time tuning in, this is a short show where I share a few thoughts, strategy, a tip, a trick, whatever it may be, something that is actionable that you could take and implement into your life right now to get the results or make progress towards a goal that you've been struggling with or just need a little help with. So today, let's just jump right into it. Keep with the theme of today's show, which is keeping things simple and not overcomplicating shit. The reason I want to talk with you guys about this is I'm kind of fresh off of I am fresh off of completing a couple GORUCK challenges. I'll throw a link in the show notes here in case you're wondering what that is. You can check that out. But anyways, It's essentially a fitness challenge that's run by a Special Forces cadre, and they present the group with numerous challenges and problems that they have to overcome as a group, all while carrying around heavy, awkward objects and wearing a heavy rucksack. Well, the times when we were most successful and completed these challenges quickly and efficiently was when we stopped making things so complicated and we just put our heads down, got to work, and got the job done. So that's really fresh on my mind, and that's why I want to talk with you guys about this topic today. So first, let's quickly cover some of the reasons why we tend to overcomplicate things, and it really boils down to the fact that our brains haven't evolved quickly and adapted to our modern stimulation-heavy environment. And another reason is that our animalistic brain is also trained to pick out threats and trained to look for that saber-toothed tiger that might be coming over our shoulder, or look for threats or any sort of challenges to our well-being. That's also why we're plugged into our smartphones and our various tech devices so often. We're actually going after and looking for drama and anything that might be out there threatening to our well-being. We're hungry for it. We're hungry for that stimulation. That's what our ancestors wanted or kind of thrived in. That environment that challenged them and allowed them to thrive. So anyways, let's start getting into some practical ways that we can start to unwind our complicated situations that we tend to make for ourselves. So the first thing that I've found useful is meditation. And before you discount it as something woo, something cheesy, something far-fetched, I'll tell you that I felt the same way when I first heard about meditation and how often successful people do it. But the biggest benefit that I've found from doing it is developing that second level awareness of being aware of my thoughts and being able to observe my thought and then analyze whether A, it's true, B, if it's something that is beneficial for me to think about, and C, if there's a better way for me to look at things. Just to give you a quick example here, right before I sat down to record this podcast, I found myself questioning if people would actually enjoy this content. I had to sit there and ask myself, is that really true? Is it really useful for me to think or have that question in my mind? And the answer actually is no. I mean, you may make a different decision if you were in the same boat as me, but the thing is, I have the power to decide how I look at that. So that's one of the biggest outcomes of meditation, at least for me. If you meditate, I'd be curious to hear what your benefits are, or what you found to be beneficial about meditation. The second tip that I want to talk about here when it comes to simplifying your life and uncomplicating things for yourself is the practice of delegation. I see it a lot in men and a lot of other people. It doesn't have to be men in general, but we have such a tough time delegating things. We always have to think that we have to do everything ourselves, and we have to, only we can do it the best way possible. And we have to get out of that mode of thinking. We have to start recognizing that we simply can't do everything, and that there's an expert or a guru or someone who specializes in certain things. Just this podcast, for example. My friends over at LA, Podcast Center LA, produce this podcast for me and produce the interview shows. And, I would spend a considerable amount of time doing that. And it would overcomplicate things for me, putting out the content and putting out this podcast. So that's just one example of how you can start to delegate and just recognize that, you can't do everything, and there's probably someone out there or some entity out there that can do it a little bit better, more efficiently than you can. And the last tip that I want to talk with you guys about today is stop worrying about what other people think and stop comparing yourself to others. It's, this is such a tough thing for even me to do, is that we see what other people are doing, we see and wonder what other people are thinking about us, and our minds start to create this conflict, this drama inside of our own minds about what other people are thinking about us, or what other people are thinking about our cars, our houses, everything that we have in our lives. And that in of itself causes a great deal of complication in our lives. We start to go into debt. We start to accumulate a lot of these material possessions largely because we want to look good to our friends, our family. We don't want people to think negatively about us. And I think that causes a lot of our overcomplication of things. And if we just took a step back and maybe implement that first tip that I talk about maybe a little bit more, and being conscious of our thoughts and deciding for ourselves what we do and don't want in our lives. All right, guys, so that'll wrap it up for today. I'd be curious to hear how you guys have implemented some of what we talked about today in our Facebook group over at facebook.com/groups/0excuses. We've got about 400 people in there right now, and it's growing week by week. And I'm amazed and humbled by the types of conversations that are happening over there. The other resource that I want to mention before signing off here is if you really want to take this to the next level, if you really want to dive down deep and really make some progress, build some rock solid discipline, and get the results that you really want to achieve in your life, I encourage you to check out my discipline coaching program over at kenyonzitska.com/discipline. If you're interested to invest the time, money, and energy into really get the results that you want in your life, you can fill out a short survey and schedule 60 minutes of my time to spend with you one-on-one, talking about some of the ways that we can possibly work together and get those results that you're after. All right, thanks again for tuning into today's episode. I will chat with you guys again soon.